Why do you hate Jews so much, sir? Why do you hate Jews? Mr. Akbari, is it true that you only said you wanted to kill Jews to get a discount on a BMW? That's what your lawyer said. Well, so much for contrition, folks. David Menzies for Rebel News here in Newmarket, Ontario. And folks, I'm outside the Superior Court of Justice, and we finally have closure regarding the sentencing of Waisuddin Akbari. Now, if you haven't been following the Akbari case, it's kind of disturbing. Mr. Akbari, back in March of 2024, went into a BMW dealership in Aurora, and he basically said to the salesman there, Cameron Ahmad, that he was going to carry out a massive act of terrorism. Here is what he said to the salesman, according to Ahmad's testimony. Quote, "I am going to plant a bomb in every synagogue in Toronto and blow them up to kill as many Jews as possible. I'll make sure those attacks are filmed and posted online so the world can see what I've done." Then Akbari went on to compare Jews and Israelis to roaches that needed to be exterminated or cancer that had to be eliminated. Now, apparently, Mr. Akbari thought that Mr. Ahmad was down with the jihad too, but he was absolutely mistaken. Mr. Ahmad, upon Mr. Akbari leaving the dealership, immediately contacted York Regional Police and the RCMP. Mr. Akbari was then charged with uttering threats in terms of carrying out property destruction and, of course, threats against the Jewish people. Now, Akbari was indeed convicted in November, but not sentenced. In the meantime, we've had impact statements read to the court, particularly by those in the Jewish community, expressing the harm Mr. Akbari caused. And when we were here 2 weeks ago, what we discovered was a most incredulous defense put forth by Mr. Akbari's lawyer, Mr. Lipschitz. He stated that he was never sincere in wanting to bomb synagogues or kill Jews, but rather the only reason he said that is that he was trying to score a discount on a new BMW. Can you imagine that, folks? I don't know, when you go car shopping, if you suspect that the dealership employee might be down with genocide on a certain identifiable group, do you start spouting this kind of unbelievable and egregious nonsense? Well, Justice Edward Prucci obviously wasn't buying that. The Crown was asking for a jail sentence of 4 to 6 months, plus prohibition, plus a wide variety of conditions, such as Akbari cannot own firearms for 10 years. He cannot even be in possession of anything that would cause fire. That includes a pack of matches. His lawyer, Mr. Lipschitz, said that just the 3-year probation period would be punishment enough, noting how he has been embarrassed and humiliated thanks to the media coverage of this case. Well, at least the media coverage in the beginning. I didn't see any media people here today. I guess they're too busy filing stories on that really egregious hater, Sean Foyt, and all his Christian rock musician music. Just incredible. Yet again, the double standard at play. In any event, Justice Prucci found that while Mr. Akbari is not responsible for the totality of Jewish hate that has skyrocketed in the last year and a half in the GTA and, quite frankly, other parts of the world. He did indeed contribute to it. Justice Prucci sentenced him to 60 days house arrest. And there are some conditions on Fridays between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Mr. Akbari is free to go about doing chores, getting gasoline for his car, buying groceries, and so on. But also what's very interesting is between 5 p.m. and 11 p.m., he is allowed to take part in mosque services. I find that really odd because during the original testimony, Mr. Akbari said he was not religious. Well, I guess he was either fibbing or perhaps during this ordeal, he has found Muhammad, so to speak. So in any event, he is getting an exemption for that. And, you know, why wouldn't you ask for an exemption? Get you out of the house on a Friday night. So right now, Akbari is giving his DNA sample. That was one of the conditions with the sentencing. And we're going to be here until he comes out and try to scrum him, try to find out why he uttered this irrational and vicious hatred of Jewish people and the state of Israel. And for that matter, 2 weeks ago, when he was on the stand, he issued a long list of apologies to the Ismaili community, to his family, and so forth. He never issued an apology to the Jewish community. Now, why would that be? I would imagine his intended target, if he has reformed his ways, wouldn't that be the first community you would apologize to? But no, that's not the case. Stay tuned. We'll see when they come out what Mr. Akbari has to say. Why do you hate Jews so much, sir? Why do you hate Jews? It's not very talkative when the camera's on, I suppose. Mr. Akbari, is it true that you only said you wanted to kill Jews to get a discount on a BMW? That's what your lawyer said. Well, so much for contrition, folks. No words except the raised middle finger. I don't think Akbari is sorry for his actions. I think he is still seething with resentment. I hope it wasn't a mistake to give him house arrest as opposed to real jail time. But isn't it funny how this man who had dreams of a massacre, of a genocide, of blowing up every synagogue in Toronto and killing as many Jews and Israelis as possible, suddenly he's not all that down with the jihad when the camera is rolling. Gee, I wonder why. Well, folks, as my cameraman Maurizio and I were heading back to the office from the Newmarket Court, we drove past Laziz Shawarma. This is the Laziz Shawarma that Akbari used to operate. The franchisor took away his franchise, so it's under new management. We actually popped in for a bite, and because Mr. Akbari is nowhere near touching our food anymore because of the changing of the guard, we had no reservations, and I had quite a good sandwich, I got to tell you. But the only reason we pulled over was to turn back the clock to, I believe it was last December, when we were originally reaching out to Mr. Akbari. We paid a house call to his restaurant. He wasn't there. We were told by the staff that he had left town. At least that's what they thought. But get a load of this. Before we packed up, he actually phoned me. And let's go back to that brief conversation, and you tell me, does this seem like a man full of contrition to you?
Who allow you to come there? Who allow you to come into business?
Oh, I was just seeking your side of the story, sir.
I would never comment on your thing, okay? You should never ever go there, and you should never take any video or any post or anything in the restaurant.
But sir, I wanted to get your side of the story about...
You should call me and you should call my lawyer.
Yeah, so I fear there's no fixing a Mr. Akbari. Sure, he'll go to a parole officer. Sure, he'll go to a rabbi. Sure, he'll take all kinds of sensitivity training. But how can you possibly imagine? How can you possibly decipher what he's really thinking inside his head? Hopefully, he is not a ticking time bomb. Well, folks, here we are in Aurora, Ontario, the home of BMW Aurora. And I thought we would end the report here with a few observations. The first one is, I want to thank Cameron Ahmad for blowing the whistle on Mr. Akbari. Too many people these days simply don't get involved. He did. He called the cops, and now Akbari has been outed. So good for him. Secondly, speaking of BMWs, this kind of is an example of the inconsistent testimony of Akbari. To this day, he still denies saying that he wanted to blow up synagogues and kill Jews and Israelis. But his own lawyer, Mr. Lipschitz, he said he did say that, but it wasn't that he was going to really do that, of course. It was just that he wanted a discount on one of these fine bimmers here. So which is it? It's unbelievable. And finally, what I find distressing about the Akbari case is this is someone who was born and raised in a country that is not desirable in anyone's playbook. We welcomed him in as a refugee to Canada in 2007, and through hard work, he realized the Canadian dream, the Canadian promise, as Pierre Poilievre calls it, didn't he? A $1.3 million home in East Gwillimbury, a nice restaurant in Newmarket, $500,000 of play money that he could gamble with, driving around town in a swank BMW, and yet his visceral hatred for Jews, Israelis, and the state of Israel, he just couldn't contain it. He just fantasized about carrying out jihad, and nevertheless, I don't know about you folks, this is yet another case that really makes me question our refugee policy in Canada. For Rebel News, I'm David Menzies. You know, folks, isn't the unspoken deal in official multiculturalism that you can come to Canada and pursue the Canadian dream, but on the flip side, don't import your age-old hatreds with you? Clearly, Akbari is another glaring example of how official multiculturalism is a failure, and enough is enough. If you feel like we do, please go to deporthamas.com. That's deporthamas.com. Sign the petition, and if you're able to, kindly make a donation.